Arne Slot is facing rumours of being sacked at Liverpool. Enzo Fernandez's agent says things are now well with Chelsea. And Clearlake might not be selling Chelsea after all. In fact, Todd Boehly might be the one who would be leaving Chelsea. So many things to discuss. Let's just get into this video. So first of all, Arne Slot is now facing sacking rumours at Liverpool, and it is not crazy to see that Arne Slot is facing all these rumours, because the way Liverpool have played over the course of this season, it has been disappointing to say the least. I know Liverpool have lost now 16 games. That is the highest they've lost in a season in the past 12 or 13 years. And Liverpool fans are now distraught. Liverpool fans don't seem to have as much belief in the team, and it's not a surprise to see all that, especially considering their last three losses. The loss against Brighton, where Danny Welbeck scored against the Reds and made it 2-1 for Brighton. And then they lost to Man City in the Cup, which was a humiliating defeat. And then they lost to PSG in the Champions League quarterfinal, which was another humiliating defeat. It is a surprise that they only lost 2-0, because the way Liverpool played that game, as weak as Liverpool were, they deserved at least 5 or 6 goals against their name. It should have been 5 or 6 PSG against Liverpool, 0. Liverpool did not create any chances on target. They had 0 XGOT in that game. They had a .22 score on XG, which basically means that Liverpool did not attempt any chances. They did not create anything. They did not possess any goal threat against Paris Saint-Germain. You would expect that in a game against the European champions, against one of, if not the best team in the world, Liverpool would put up a fight and give their best, give it their all. But none of that was ever happening. None of that ever seemed to be happening. It seemed like Liverpool just didn't want to be in that fight. It felt like Liverpool were never going to be in that fight. And that is what the end result was. It is still, again, it is shocking to see that PSG were only 2-0 up against Liverpool at full time. Because the way Liverpool played, it should have been 4, 5 or 6-0 against PSG. Should Arne Slot be sacked? Arne Slot, first of all, is a top coach. He is a top coach. He's proven it over the entire course of his career. He's won trophies. He won the Premier League in his first season with Liverpool. Now, many people said on Twitter or in various other discussions that that team was more of Klopp's team than Slot's team. But then Liverpool have now lost Trent. They've lost Salah. They've lost some of their key players. Andy Robertson, as announced yesterday, is now retiring. So the entire squad that Liverpool had over the course of the years, the pillars of their squad, they're now all retiring. Virgil van Dijk is nearer to the end of his career as he is to the beginning of it. The entire core that Liverpool used to have, that won so many trophies over the past decade, Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane, Andy Robertson, Jordan Henderson, everyone has already either left the club or they are in the process of leaving the club. It's a hard time, it's a tough situation for Liverpool fans, because they now have to rebuild all of that, and I guess this is what Arne Slot is somewhat trying to do, trying to go through a rebuild and recreate a new identity for Liverpool. And that takes time, and that takes effort and pain, obviously. And that is somewhat what has affected Arne Slot's tenure at Liverpool, because he's not a bad coach at all. And as he has said already, it's one of the reasons of Liverpool's downfall in recent times, is that the Premier League has such a playing style where Liverpool are not able to surpass the low blocks. But these excuses, these reasons only work to an extent, and if you can't prove that, especially in Europe either, you run out of excuses, so you run out of time and you run out of patience, not just with the fans, but with the owners and the management as well. I'm personally, if I had to take that decision, I still would like to see Arne Slot and how his season, the rest of his season turns out, and what his plans for the future in case he stays at Liverpool are. Otherwise, the future for Arne Slot at Liverpool seems quite bleak. Then we come to Enzo Fernandez and Javier Pastore, because Javier Pastore last week said that Enzo Fernandez hadn't done anything wrong by saying that he'd like to move to Madrid one day, because it was just a question posed to him. And it's not like he said that he doesn't respect Chelsea or anything, or that he wants to leave London. He didn't say any sort of that thing. But the rumours over the past few months have been so strong with Enzo, and Chelsea's performances have not been helping at all, especially since the departure of Enzo Maresca, who was a beloved coach not just for the fans but the players as well, as we know now, since Marco Correa made those comments. And Enzo and Reece and all of those leaders in the Chelsea group were so close with Enzo Maresca. They all had the belief in that system. It doesn't seem like that belief is there anymore, and that has not just perhaps but evidently been one of the reasons that Liam Rosenior's tenure at Chelsea has not been the best. And Chelsea have been facing all those hurdles in the recent times. Now, Javier Pastore has said that Enzo and Chelsea, the things have cooled down a little bit, and they would like Chelsea to qualify for the Champions League now because Enzo wants to be in the top position. He wants to be in top teams and compete for the biggest prizes in football. But Chelsea at the moment don't seem like a team capable of doing anything of those sorts. And thus there are still a lot of questions about Enzo and his future at Chelsea, whether he will stay or whether he will leave the club, go to PSG or go to Real Madrid or some club, whether some club wants him, what price would be decided for him, because Chelsea are not going to sell Enzo at a low price, considering the fact that he was one of the most expensive players ever when he was signed to Chelsea. And also considering the fact that he is the vice captain of the Chelsea squad. He is one of the leaders, one of the pillars of this rebuild that Chelsea has gone through in the past 4 years. But Chelsea have not had this level of success that they had guaranteed to Enzo, that they would have liked Enzo to have. And since the departure of Enzo Maresca, a coach that did show some signs of having a potentially bright future for Chelsea, now he is gone, and it doesn't seem like there is much belief left in the Chelsea project, if there had been any in the first place. And so the fans were complaining about the Chelsea ownership structure and the management structure now changing, Chelsea being sold to a different club, or Todd Boehly buying out the rest of the consortium that is controlling Chelsea at the moment. Todd Boehly buying out those stakes. Many fans wanted that, but it doesn't seem like that would be happening anytime soon, because the big news coming out in recent hours is that Clearlake would not like to sell Chelsea anytime soon, and it would instead be Todd Boehly who would be possibly exiting the club and their ownership, because Clearlake do want to have a future with Chelsea. They do want to have a long-term future with Chelsea, and if anything has to happen, if anyone has to go, it perhaps would be Todd Boehly, because Todd Boehly is not at the moment seemingly on the same page as the rest of the Clearlake hierarchy. And Ben Jacobs has reported this on the London Blue Pod, that Clearlake would not be selling Chelsea. Todd Boehly has already explored that option, and it's just not going to work. Clearlake would either like to keep things the way they are, or they would like to possibly buy Todd Boehly's stake in the club, or increase the influence they already have on the club. And it is a year from now, it is summer 2027, where some discussions could be held about the ownership structure changing, about Todd Boehly leaving or staying, or Clearlake stakeholding within the club changing. But at the moment, things are going to stay the way they are, and if something is changing, the club would tilt towards being managed by Clearlake and not towards being bought out by Todd Boehly. Which again is disappointing for a lot of fans, because the fans are not on board with the steps that Clearlake has taken with the club, and the fans do feel a strong sense of disconnect and discontentment towards Clearlake, the management, the hierarchy, the sporting directors and everyone else at the club, the way things are being managed at the club the past 4 years. Fans are extremely dissatisfied at the moment, and you cannot even blame the fans for that, because Chelsea and the ownership, they've not proven themselves to the fans with the wins, with everything that has gone at the club. The 2 trophies that they won, a large share of that goes to Enzo Maresca. A large part of that success is Enzo Maresca, and now he's no longer in the club. So many steps are being taken towards the integration of young players into the squad, and the rebuilding of the squad, the rebuilding of Chelsea as a whole, as a rebuilding of the Chelsea identity. But it doesn't seem like those are the most plausible steps, and it doesn't seem like Chelsea have the reputation that they once used to have, the reputation that they used to have a few years ago. So a disappointing news for the fans, that Clearlake might not be selling Chelsea, and whatever happens with Chelsea, it is interesting to see still. It is never a quiet day, it is never a silent day at Chelsea, but whatever happens with Chelsea, let's hope it is for the best. If Chelsea do not win in the coming times, the anger of the players of Enzo Fernandez, of Marco Correa, and everyone else who has been complaining about the club for the past few years, it would be justified, it would be completely vindicated. And at the moment, the club's direction, the way the club has been moving, it only seems to make the statement truer and truer. Anyways, that was it for the video. I just wanted to discuss these 3 things that are going on in football right now. Arne Slot sacking Todd Boehly and Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea. What do you guys think? Should Clearlake lose control of Chelsea? Should Arne Slot be sacked at Liverpool? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys really soon. This is Arsh signing off again.